Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the film attorney, and my client has a case. In 1985, director Mark Lester made a film called Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Alyssa Milano, and Ray Don Chong. The plot of the movie was simple enough. An ex-mercenary, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, goes on a bloody rampage against a group of terrorists that kidnap his daughter. It was over the top, cheesy, and had audiences shouting BS at the screen every few minutes. But it was this movie's overall cheesiness that made it a cult hit today. So in 1991, Mark Lester got back in the director's chair to try and recapture the magic of Commando with Showdown in Little Tokyo, a buddy cop movie with a pretty epic cast that should have led to this film being a cult hit as well. Well, let's do the list. You have The Punisher, or Ivan Drago if you prefer, The Crow, Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat, that hot chick from Wayne's World, and Tatsu from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this movie's bound to be a cult classic, right?
Wrong.
Well, what the heck happened here? Only 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, and is cited as being nothing but mindless violence, cheesy one-liners, one of which is so weird I can't believe it made it to this film's final cut. To give a brief synopsis of the plot, what little there is, Kenner, played by Dolph Lundgren, is a detective who works in Little Tokyo, a section of Los Angeles I'm not sure exists or not. The Yakuza start moving in on the local business folk, where Kenner kicks the snot out of them without even spilling his coffee. He gets a new partner, played by Brandon Lee, and they proceed to level 2, where Kenner discovers the boss, played by Cary Tagawa, is the man who killed his parents in Japan. So why doesn't this movie sit well with people? Well, let's go through the list of charges. Those BS moments. Every movie requires a suspension of disbelief, and this one's no different. It lets you know right off the bat not to expect a physics lesson from this movie. Now I could believe a guy in this kind of physical condition with a giant burst of adrenaline could actually do this. However, physical fitness nor adrenaline factor into whether or not someone can jump off the wheel of an airplane during takeoff and not die. For me, this is the most ridiculous moment in the movie, is when Dolph turns over a car with his bare hands.
Bullshit.
Tries to be Lethal Weapon and fails. Now the buddy cop element of this movie lends itself to a lot of comparisons to Lethal Weapon. It's a Lethal Weapon ripoff, that it's not as good as Lethal Weapon, or it's trying to be Lethal Weapon, which I say Showdown in Little Tokyo is much better than Lethal Weapon.
How dare you! Lethal Weapon was a groundbreaking film in the buddy cop genre. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover were a hilarious duo.
Yes, hilarious if you like hearing dogs bark. The dialogue in Lethal Weapon is just as bad as the dialogue in this. Only Lethal Weapon, everybody's yelling at each other. Mel Gibson acts nuts and Danny Glover goes, "I'm getting too old for this shit." And that's it. Everything is loud, everything is obnoxious. This is basically a scene from Lethal Weapon.
He shoot me, run the order. Whatever it takes, I'm in hell!
Oh yes, and who can forget about the ever so annoying Leo Getz.
Fuck you in the hospital. First they drug you, then they fuck you. And when they're done fucking you, along comes the insurance company and fucks you some more. You got fucked, okay? They know you're not going to turn around and go back. So they don't care who gets fucked.
Alright, will somebody please shut him the hell up?
Thank you.
Racist against Asians. To quote another critic,
once foreplay is concluded, it's established they are in fact working on the same case, the objective of which we can only assume at this point is to mercilessly beat every Japanese person in Los Angeles.
Well, yes, the bad guys are in the Yakuza. They're not exactly an equal opportunity employer. The bad dialogue. Now the dialogue in this film is less than good, but it's a martial arts movie. That comes with the territory of a martial arts movie.
Do you want to take off that ugly mask? Okay, so be it, but we shall soon see who is behind that mask.
That's not the point of a martial arts movie. That's not where the skills of a martial arts actor comes into play. It's how well he fights, how well he choreographs the movements. That's where they shine as actors. The one-liners aren't that bad, really. Like every one-liner, they're hit and miss. Some are good, like these.
In between cooking cycles, you're supposed to baste us.
We're dead! Fight sucked. We came back.
Now this one's good if you don't overthink it.
Name your price.
Always wanted a Porsche.
Okay, now if you're in a room full of naked men who all know karate and want to whoop your butt, you're not always going to think of the most logical comebacks. However, if your goal is to say that you're not for sale, and by sarcastically quoting a price that he would never pay, you should probably shoot for something higher than he could actually afford. Keep in mind that Shang Tsung here owns a brewery, a nightclub, a meth factory, and runs a chapter of the Yakuza. This man could piss a Porsche. And considering Dolph is arresting Shang Tsung for manufacturing ice with a witness and a video recording of a murder in his VCR, a Porsche is a pretty reasonable price. Now for the bad one-liners, and believe me, they are legendary. Okay, now this first one requires a little bit of a setup. After rescuing Tia Carrera, Dolph Lundgren leaves her alone in his apartment with a shotgun and instructions.
Shoot anything you see move.
Well, what if it's you?
You won't see me coming.
And after sneaking back in, the three retreat to Dolph's paper house. Dolph bags Tia Carrera because it's action movie protocol, which is tasteful enough until this.
What?
That time, I heard you coming.
That is nasty, okay? It wouldn't be so bad if it was following a scene like this. But the sequence beforehand is soft. There's a very tasteful amount of skin. It's all very subtle. She just reaches over and grabs his hair. You don't hear the actors. And then this.
That time, I heard you coming.
Ew. But that is not the controversial line. This is the controversial line.
Kenner, just in case we get killed, I wanted to tell you, you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Thanks.
Why? Why is this line in this movie? Someone had to write this in a script, print this on a piece of paper, have the actors do a table read, have the actors rehearse it, and have the actors say it on film, and no one bothered to question why Brandon Lee needs to comment on Dolph Lundgren's Wang Diggler. But it's still not as disturbing as this scene from Lethal Weapon.
Someone was in bed with Amanda Hansack the night she died. Right up till now, we assumed it was a man. Okay, suppose it was Dixie.
Okay, disgusting, but okay.
Did you catch it? Now you may have missed it due to all of the unnecessary gunfire going on in this scene here. Because it is a Lethal Weapon movie and everything has to be extraordinarily loud all the time.
Someone was in bed with Amanda Hansack the night she died. Right up till now, we assumed it was a man. Okay, suppose it was Dixie.
Okay, disgusting, but okay.
That's right, Riggs, or Mel Gibson if you would, the crazy guy in Lethal Weapon thinks lesbians are disgusting. Not these lesbians, these lesbians. Now, an argument about the times does not hold water, and I will tell you why. Now, if this was two men, I would get it. That is not exactly pleasing to the eye, or the mind. But a man's man like Riggs, and men in general, when have they never not been into girl on girl, let alone just outright think it's disgusting?
Disgusting, but okay.
It is not disgusting. It's beautiful, you neo-Nazi wind tunnel hairdo freak.
You know you have moments when you're truly an asshole.
Horrible action scenes. Well, they are not overwhelming, but they're adequate. And I can say that at least every action scene in this movie, good or bad, serves the plot of the movie. Unlike, say, Lethal Weapon 3. Remember that awful scene in Lethal Weapon 3 when Mel Gibson tries to stop a hostage situation and turns out to be a movie set? Has nothing to do with the plot, just a really loud wah 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 moment.
How do you like that, huh? What are you doing with a rubber gun?
Martin, no!
What?
This is a film. We're not...
God! Who the fuck is this lunatic?
Now, Showdown in Little Tokyo is flawed. There is no doubt about that. But the movie does promise two super cops who know martial arts beating the snot out of bad guys with martial arts. And it delivers exactly that. It's not a very cerebral film, but it doesn't try to be. Yeah, it's kind of like a side-scroller beat-em-up game put to film. Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee work well enough together. They don't have Tremors chemistry.
And I wanted to work in Malibu.
That'll never happen.
Thanks. That's supportive. I've joined you on this quest for personal vengeance, and you got to take a shot at my dreams?
The Malibu Sheriff's Department, not LAPD.
Really? Damn.
But they're not there to win an Oscar. They're there to do karate and fight choreography. And yeah, we've seen it better in movies now, like The Transporter, The Matrix, or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Kill Bill, what have you. But remember that this is 1991. These are the other martial arts films that this movie competed with at that time. And I'd rather have bad dialogue underacted than overacted.
You good looking.
Ooh-wee, that's awful. And some people may complain about this musical score, which I actually think is pretty good. And maybe the opening sequence is a little homoerotic, so what? It's better than opening the film with Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell Rock. I'm the film attorney, and from right now, the defense rests.
That time, I heard you coming.